Okay.
Okay. Hello. Welcome back to this weekend's Plod. And I am joined today, of course, as always, with my lovely co-host, Charlie from Charlie Book Reads. And today we are very excited to have Brian from Bookish and Sandy from MsReads a lot. So we have our American contingent here today. Though from very different parts of America, because the time zone is very different. So massive kudos to Sandy, who's here at 7 a.m.
Bright and early.
Bright and early. But we are delighted to have you both with us. I think maybe we'll just go straight in and ask you, what have been your thoughts on the Women's Prize long list, fiction and or non-fiction this year? Brian, do you want to kick us off?
Sure. As usual, I was surprised by most of the titles on the long list, and there's only one I had read before the list came out, and that was the Safekeep, which I read because of the Booker Prize. I was not surprised that Miranda July's All Fours was on there, but a lot of the other titles were things that were not, known to me. And additionally, I'm having a really hard time getting my hands on without spending significant amounts of money, which has kind of been a problem for me this year, which I don't remember being as big a problem last year. The nonfiction list was just completely, I had no idea, but I've read 3 of those books so far from the nonfiction list. I've read 3 from the fiction list, and I'm reading the 3rd book from the nonfiction list and enjoying it. So the nonfiction list, I read the one about fish not existing. I read By the Fire We Carry, the one about Indigenous Americans fight for their land. And I'm reading the one about Vikings, which has the weirdest title.
I love it.
I can never say it out loud without thinking I'm saying it wrong, but I'm enjoying that one. And then fiction-wise, I read The Safekeep. I read Tell Me Everything by Elizabeth Strout, because it was in my library, and All Fours by Miranda July, because it was in my local library.
Okay, so a couple of questions then. The Fires We Carry from the non-fiction list, what did you think of that? Because I found it quite difficult, and I wondered if it was because I'm not American and I don't know anything about American land law and American Indigenous history. Or...
I have read, recently, I've read a number of books kind of concerning Indigenous Americans and land and those kind of things. So I think that helped probably a little bit. It's pretty dense on the in the area of historical detail in terms of like providing it and like dumping you into the middle of it. And so I think it probably is a little bit, I think you're probably right that without some background, it might be a bit of a slog. And I found it at times to be a little bit like, okay, this is a lot of minutia you're getting into. And so it felt that way. But, I enjoyed it because it is an area that I think I read in. I think it worked for me.
Excellent. And on the fiction side then, Brian.
Ask me.
What did you like? What did you not like?
Well, of the 3 I've read, The Safekeep is still by far my favorite of those 3. I think that's a good book. I don't know that I think it's, a winning book, but I think it's a good book.
Yes.
I liked All Fours. I'm still kind of making up my mind about how much I like it. It's possible that if after another week's reflection and maybe read a few more books, I might think, yeah, that's the best one of the books I've read. I think it's incredibly. I hate to use the word brave when we talk about writing something, but in the sense of writing something, I think it was really brave because that character is not likable. And she does things that you're like, what the hell? Nobody would do this kind of a thing. Not just the things that, were talked about last week, I think, but just in general, the choices she makes, just like, but then I think that's kind of part of what it's talking about is.
I feel like you like a good bad character though, right? That's like something that I feel like you really like when there's a character that you can really dislike.
Yeah, and I found her kind of charmingly irritating and weird in a strange way. One of those people who I would like to be friends with somebody who was friends with her, so they could tell me all the stories. But I don't want to be friends with her, and
Gotcha.
that kind of
You
thing.
want to hear all the stories. You want to hear all the gossip.
Yeah.
He wants a drama, but not real like one-on-one.
But you don't know
That's
looking after.
To me, that's what reading the book was like. Somebody, I mean, it's written in first person, more well, not first person. It's written from the point of view of the woman, but it is it was kind of like felt like that. There's enough of a remove where I can go, oh well, I can kind of sympathize with her about this, and I think that it's a really good. So I have no way of knowing if it's a good representation of a woman in perimenopause or not, and the impact that has. So I don't feel like I'm qualified to judge that. My wife has not dealt with those same issues in the same. Well, hasn't dealt with the issues in that way, is what I would say. So.
I feel like I need to read that now as a woman in my early 50s.
Yeah. I think it's out there. I think July is taking some chances, and I kind of appreciated that about it.
Nice.
I think it's dividing opinion quite a lot, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
I think if you don't like if you don't like reading a book about a character that you don't like, then it's a hard sell, because I don't think you're going to end up liking her. Yeah.
Well, that's 30 pages in, so
in what way they're bad, right? There's some characters that I love that they're just awful characters, but then some characters, it's just their behavior is so egregious that I can't do it. I think it has to do with just some of the topics in the book as well. But if you're just a generally bad person, it's like, okay, you might be fun to read about, but I don't want to read about you doing really awful things.
I think she's kind of a benign narcissist. If that's, you like look at her and go, golly, you're just why? And then, I kind of I know a lot of people because she kind of has engaged. Well, she does engage in extramarital affairs, and her husband seems to be really supportive. But the more you get to know him, the more I was like, well, he's kind of a nub, and maybe. Maybe I understand a little more. So, I think a lot of people react to the first section of the book, and the others kind of parts fade away a little bit in people's memory. But to me, the parts about the husband and their relationship, I found there's lots of stuff I thought were funny and ridiculous and outrageous and irritating. So, that's a lot of stuff, and that's a lot to provoke in somebody, I think, from a book, which, stands in stark contrast to Tell Me Everything by Elizabeth Strout, which if you were to ask me what happened to that book, I would tell you, I don't remember.
Oh, okay.
Given my experience with Elizabeth Strout, I would say that's probably because nothing happened.
That's it. And in this one, I will say my memory tells me there is something of a murder mystery.
Oh.
But it's not that mysterious.
Wow.
Oh, excellent.
Sorry, Charlie.
I love a bit of salty Strout opinion.
I've only read one Elizabeth Strout, and it was fine. That's all I remember. It was fine.
I think if you cut out all the conversations between Olive Kittredge and the other woman character whose was the title of the book, if you cut all that out, you have a nice kind of sleek, cozy mystery. And you okay? That was an entertaining, cozy mystery. Let's go on.
Okay.
That's what it felt like to me. Sorry, Charlie.
I don't mind. I like Elizabeth Strout's. I like the first few I read, but then now it's I have other feelings about it. But
I would say I think she's a very talented writer.
Yeah.
In terms of engaging you in something where you're like, nothing is happening. It takes you a while to realize that nothing is going to happen. And once you do, for me, I was like, okay, there's another 120 pages of this. Let's go. I know who did it.
I think Brian figured it out on page 5. He's done.
I don't even try to figure out mysteries. I just read them. I don't want to know. I want the author to surprise me. And this book, I was like, oh, okay, I know who this is a mystery. And the stakes are so low anyway. No. So I was literally 110 pages from the end. I looked at my wife and I said, I'm so ready for this book to be over. And I know what you're saying. Why didn't you DNF? I can't because I'm reading it for a reason.
Oh yeah, we do.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah,
so,
I know that reason.
Yeah.
yeah.
I know that feeling. I feel like every book I have almost is like that. It's like, well, but it's on my
I'm sure.
list, so I want to give it a
Yeah.
shot.
Yeah. Well, I admire anybody, Sandy, who could set up a list and say, I'm going to try to read all these books. Because when you tell me, when I see your videos about books you're reading for the 1,001, I'm like, there's no way I'm picking that up. I mean, no, I don't care how good A Suitable Boy is. I am never going to read
It's
it.
so good.
I am never going to read it. It's too damn long. I'm sorry.
It is long.
It's
the thing though with that
1,000
book,
pages.
with that particular book, Fraser, Simon, and I read it as a buddy read. And we had a very short amount of time to read it because I was leaving on a trip. And so we just powered through it in a very short amount of time. And that might have helped. Like, I think if we tried to read it on a more like just a slower basis, it would have been a bigger struggle. But it kept moving because we were trying to read it so fast.
Yeah.
I think you could cut out at least 50% of it and it would still be, and it would be better.
Yeah, probably. But isn't that part of like its you appeal or whatever? It's like, oh, it's so long. It's such a good classic or whatever. So I don't know. I've read better big books. Like Kristen Lavransdatter is another one. If you read all 3 books, which is a chunky book, and that one was one of my favorite books off of the 1,001 list that I would have never read. So there are better books that I would say read this over that, but I did like it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Oh, anyway, let's get back on topic. Sandy, what did you think of the lists?
Unsurprisingly, a lot of the books are unknown to me. There's very few titles that I recognized. One of the ones that was on my most anticipated was Dream Count. That one, because it was on my most anticipated of 2025. And because I did like Americana, so I want to read that one. I haven't actually read any quite yet off of the long lists. So the other one that just by the title has me super curious is The Persians, because my husband is from Iran originally. And so I just really want to read what that one's all about. But those are the 2 that kind of right off the top. The one I've been able to see in like the bookstore is The Ministry of Time. I don't know if it was published like more a little bit longer ago, but like Dream Count and The Persians just came out like 2 weeks ago. So similar to Brian, it's hard to get them unless I want to go pay full price for a hardback somewhere. And so I just haven't had an opportunity to pick one of them up yet.
Can you get audio? Can you audio book it? Because that's sometimes
it depends. So if I get it from I prefer to get audiobooks from the library. And my library up here in Washington State is phenomenal, but they don't always have them right away. Or if I go out and look now, I put a bunch of books on hold on my anticipated list to see what I could get. And I'm still waiting. I put them on the hold list in January. So it can take a while to get books.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a shame that there's not more accessibility to the books this year. I do think this year is worse than it has been in previous years for you guys over that side of the
especially
pond.
for the fiction. I think did you say some of the non-fiction's a bit? You said the non-fiction's a bit easier to get hold of, Brian. You said.
So like Dream Count at my library isn't even available yet. There's 26 on order, and there's 136 holds for it. So it'll be weeks before I could get the physical book. The audio book says they've ordered 31 copies and there's 226 holds. So it's just going to take a while to get those, unless like I said, I want to buy one, which I did the year before. I think I did. I bought several of them, but this year I haven't done that. So yeah, I'm behind.
That's okay though, because you can wait to some. I haven't read many either, and I'm kind of like with the fiction. I mean, and so I'm like kind of holding off to the short list a little bit for that because I'm mostly focusing on the non-fiction. So
yeah. Though I will say that Brian has piqued my interest in all fours now.
Yeah, he does that to everybody, because even though I'd read it and DNF'd it, him describing it, I'm like, oh, maybe I should try it. I doubt myself. That's the power of Brian right there.
The power
You
of Brian.
DNF'd all fours.
Sorry?
You DNF'd all fours?
Yes.
Why did you DNF it? Because the main character was just too awful?
It was last year when I was like struggling to read reading, to be fair. Yeah, I just, something about it, I was just like, no, I just can't even. Like, it was, I just nothing about it was like grabbing me, and it was definitely the writing style. So I do think it's like you said, the writing style is like a Marmitey thing. So I just couldn't get on board with, like, I'm sure loads of people love it, and I'm sure like there's merit to it, and I'm not disagreeing about any of that, but yeah, it was not for me. It was at all. Like, I just, yeah. So
I have to say, I'm about 30 pages in, and I don't think it's one of those books that hooks you straight away. It's sort of, you've got to kind of get to grips with what's going on and what the focus is. So yeah, it's not like a straight away hook job for me, but I will give it 100 pages and we'll see.
I think that's true. It takes a while because I think she tries to build up who the character is, and once she goes on the road, which isn't a spoiler, everybody knows that's what the book's about. Once she goes on the road, then things happen instead of just you being kind of finding out about her family dynamic and what people think of her, which I thought was kind of some of the most interesting part. It ended up being, to me, some of the best parts of the book, what people think of her and how you take that in and judge her as a character as the book goes on.
So you are tempting me. Like, when you say stuff like that, I'm like, oh, maybe if I was like
there's no redemption arc. I'm just going to tell you, if you're waiting for her to get, I don't think she gets better. So
okay.
She kind of remains. Things happen to her, and some of them she deserves.
Have you read The First Bad Man by Miranda July? Have you read that one?
No,
I haven't read it either.
First.
I own it, but haven't read it. Hi.
Oh, a new subscriber. Hello. Hi. Yeah, no, I've never read any Miranda July before. Gretchen saying she's having a hard time getting her hands on books as well.
Yeah, it's tough.
Never really had this problem with the Women's Prize before. It's interesting. They've obviously chosen.
It's normally the booker that does that to you guys, isn't it?
Yes, I was really shocked that my small town conservative library had all fours. When I saw, I was like, "Holy cats! I got to go get this right now," because they might take it off the shelf in a week.
Brian.
Yeah, you would think from the name they might get some idea, but no, apparently not. So it was. I was like, okay. Somebody has not alerted our local community of the progressive nature of our library connections, our library collection.
That'll probably be gone next week, Brian.
Well, I still have it. So
Crooked Seeds also has an unlikable character.
We've heard this, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be quite gruesome in places.
I'm not sure about that one either. That's another one. I'm like, I don't know.
Jen, just about to start all fours. Can't wait to see what I think of it.
But Jen sometimes likes an unlikable character, like you said. So, like, I can think this could. I mean, she's either
this could be a Jen book.
I'll be honest with you. I was kind of interested in seeing if kind of what the gender breakdown was on people who like her, who didn't, because like I said, when I read, I was like, I'm not sure how normal any of this is. So, or if this is really the way people in that situation feel. So I was just kind of like, okay, I guess, I don't know. Anyway, so.
Yeah, because Jack Edwards loved it, didn't he? Like, I know that. I don't know how many of you guys watched that one.
Did he really read it?
I do watch Jack, and I like it, but I think sometimes he just likes books because
he gets paid to like them.
No, I was going to say because people like them.
What are you gunning for, Jack Edwards?
Wow. You just signed your booktube death warrant right there.
Jack Edwards has become my guilty pleasure now. This is actually a thing that's happened to me. I love it. Whenever I'm poorly, I always watch his videos.
Ariane said, I'm tired of women behaving badly in books. Not sure if all fours is like that, but I'm not interested.
100% Ariane. Honestly, I'm so with you.
Pam only read Birding and loved it. So I haven't seen many people talking about that one.
Yeah, not many people. Yes. Especially our plodders. We haven't had not as many of the plodders have read Birding, I don't think.
Is that the one where the birds are like take over or something like that? Am I thinking by Hiroki?
I thought it was like a.
Oh no,
beach.
that's Under the Eye of the Big Bird.
Right,
on
that
the
was on that's the
International
Republic
Book
of Conscience Prize, not the Women's Prize.
It's
Gotcha.
really good, though.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I liked the books by her I've read, so.
I haven't read any of hers before, but it's sort of like interconnected short stories until you get to the end and you realize how they're connected. But the concept work is incredible.
You make me want to read it.
Really good.
I don't know if I'd be able to make it through the short stories.
I'm
such a
I'm not normally short stories
I
either,
hate them.
honestly, Sandy. I'm the
And
same normally.
They're really compulsive. Jess didn't like all fours. So, yeah. Batten for the other side. So many other books out there. Fascinating protagonist.
Oh, it's so gross.
I can't read gross books. I can't.
Bit of love for a suitable boy.
No bodily fluids, please. No bodily fluids.
Start on the Persians. Keep doing sales for 10p, and they have the book beats. I don't use book beats. Don't know if anyone else does, but nice tip.
I have got it.
People like the Persians.
Oh, enjoyed the Persians. Not literary, but still enjoyed it. I do like the way that the Women's Prize has a mix of sort of more literary and more
accessible. Yeah.
Yeah.
Reading women. Yeah. Is that
so
what
commercial? Like, I do like the mix.
Because I know, like Katie described the Women's Prize. She said it's like I don't know if she described it's like reading women fiction. Isn't that like a category that she said about? I'm sure there was like a category that she said about.
Don't know.
Anyway.
Jess liked the first 80 pages. That doesn't bode well because I'm not super hooked. I've already read 30.
I predict a Gemma DNF. I really do.
Do you? Excellent.
I do.
Ooh,
yeah.
I like it.
Well, primarily because I kind of liked it, so I have a feeling that means you'll dislike it enough. So.
And then we'll get you back on, Brian, so you can battle it out.
Yeah, I'm really kind of I challenge you to finish it. So.
Oh dear.
I will say that I was a little surprised that Colored Television by Denzi Senna wasn't on the Women's Prize list, which I think is kind of a better version of All Fours.
Which one's that? I'm going to write that down.
Colored Television by Denzi Senna. It's women in a similar situation, not age-wise, but one in All Fours, the character is reacting to perimenopause and this feeling that her life is over. And in Colored Television, the character is experiencing more of a professional crisis, which then leads to personal crises. And I really liked it, though. It's one of those books I really liked, but I'm not sure I understood everything because it's an experience that I've never had. I can't have. So I like reading books like that because how else am I going to know anything about these things? But then I'm always like, did I understand that? Is that what
that's why we read a lot, right? There's a lot of different
so.
Things that you're never going to be able to experience, but you can experience through reading. It's one of the reasons why I love it so much. So yeah,
for sure.
So I mean, if I could read about perimenopause and not have to go through it, I'd be much happier. I'm just saying.
That's what I'm saying.
If I could just read about it.
Thank you, Sandy. Yeah. Those are the right.
That's definitely my advantage, I guess.
You do have an advantage.
I do.
Oh dear. Okay, right. We're going to ask you now the careless question, which is to recommend an underrated book by a female author. So Sandy, maybe you can give us your recommendation first.
Well, so I of course I went and looked and tried to see what I could find that would fit this really well. And this is one that was nominated for a Booker. And I believe it was shortlisted. But like if you go look at the ratings on Goodreads, it's now down in like the low 3s, which I think is really interesting. And it is Burnt Sugar by Abby.
Oh, I love that one.
So I read this because Kieran over at Katie Books read this, and his review of it just made me super interested. I read it and it destroyed me. So part of the reason is there's twofold to this. It has a mother-daughter relationship, which is difficult, which had a lot of things that personally like I could identify with. And there was an Alzheimer's component of it as well. We lost my mother-in-law to Alzheimer's, and my dad is currently in that path as well. And so it hit for a lot of reasons, a lot of personal connections to this particular book. So that would be the one. I'm super bummed. I haven't seen anything else by this author at all. I've looked because I'd love to read something else by her, but Burnt Sugar. Plus, I love this cover. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, that's a really great
pretty
cover.
Oh, DNF that.
Yeah, that's mine. I'll just hold it for a little while.
You can just hug it, just hug it.
Yeah, it makes me. There was another book I read recently. Oh shoot, now I can't. Sophie Kinsella has a short story or a novella, and it's about her. She had a brain tumor, and it was the same thing. When I read through that, it was like I just want to hold this book. I need a book to give me some comfort now.
I always hug my books. So that's what I'm going for on my channel.
Yeah, that's the one I have. I know it's a little more probably well known, but I didn't have any that
that's
as
good,
well known.
good choice. Brian, what do you have for us?
I kind of like Sandy. I'm not sure that any of the books are actually underrated. And particularly if you watch my channel, I talk about these books all the time. So mine would be Nupaming by Leanne Bettasemasake Simpson, which I just love.
Send that to me. I don't know
I know it's probably hard to get in the UK because it's a university publisher, I think.
Yeah,
here in the United States, published it. I just loved it, and I was surprised I didn't see it nominated for anything. I thought at least it might show up on a Canadian award list back in the day. And then I was just going to kind of jokingly say Trespasses by... because I knew that would make Charlie happy and Gemma unhappy. So.
I'll give you hearts for that. You can get hearts for that.
Yay.
I think
I really did
one,
like that book, and I do think it's underrated. But
Have you read it, Sandy? Did you?
No, I own it. It's on my shelf over there somewhere.
Oh, I loved that book.
Well, if you're having trouble getting to sleep, Sandy, then
Alice hated it as well. Alice really didn't like it either. Both Alice and Jem were like, found it boring.
Wow. Well, I've heard so many mixed things about Trespasses, and I think that's it. Like you just even with you two, or who one loved it, one didn't. So it's not captured me. I have so many books to read.
I can understand being kind of meh about it, but I can't understand disliking it.
Okay.
oh my god, she was such an idiot.
I love Kushla and little what was his name?
my
The little
goodness.
boy. Davy. Was it Davy? Was it Davy with the little boy?
Yeah, I think so.
He was the only character I liked in the whole book.
Davy. Oh,
The kid.
She didn't have a lot of options.
I'm
I mean,
with
it's
you.
kind of part of the story is that her life was really confined. And so by entering this relationship, she had a chance to live on a level she hadn't before, despite all of the real problems she had to know existed. Sorry, now I'm defending the book, but
This is what we wanted. This is the battle we wanted right there.
I mean, she worked in her brother's pub, and she was a teacher, and she lived with her mom. I mean,
Alcoholic mom.
her alcoholic mom in a community that hates her because of her because of who she is and what she does and who she supports.
I know. So it should be a really interesting book, and yet it's not. That is a skill. That is a skill to have all of those elements and to still be boring.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Gemma just hates love. That's all. She hates love.
I actually do.
Love isn't a thing. Love isn't an action. Love is boring.
Crystal.
I see how it is.
It is. No, love can be not boring if one of the love interests dies.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Okay.
didn't he? He did.
No, right. He hasn't read it.
Oh, sorry. Nobody died.
Okay.
Right.
I love that you think I would remember that detail.
Nothing I said actually happened.
There might be other people that you could spoil though. So
I spoil books all the time. I can't tell you how many comments I get on my reviews. Go, you kind of spoiled that for him. I'm like, yeah, I do that. Don't watch my reviews. What can I tell you? I'm bad. I don't think about it.
So
I want to say
funny.
something.
Oh dear. Okay, right. Let's have a look at some more comments. Maybe they think All Fours is about Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. I don't get the reference yet, but I guess Brian does.
Maybe so.
Currently in Ootlin, you loved that, didn't you, Charlie?
I loved it, but it was really a soul destroyer. It's hard to. It's a hard listen. I listened to it. So.
That's what I don't care for misery.
Yeah, that is a
Misery.
very it's like, but then obviously like it's amazing that she's like considering like how she's like a best-selling author, isn't she? Like to go through all of that and then still, and also it is beautifully written. It's stunningly written.
Yeah. Sarah has several. Kind of waiting for the shortlist. I think because the gap between long list and shortlist is so short this year, a lot of people are kind of like, well, we'll just wait and see what makes it. So
when does the shortlist come out, Gemma?
the beginning of April, is it the
Okay.
5th or something?
That's too soon, also.
And also the non-fiction long list comes out on the 26th, which is literally just 2 weeks away.
10 days,
Okay.
yeah.
Like,
So yeah, super short. Crooked Seed's not a fave, but it's different to anything I've read before, so I found it interesting. That's cool. I always speak the truth, Chris.
and the shortlist for the fiction is the 2nd of April. They have Jack Edwards blocked. We love you, Zach.
We've got like a Jack Edwards anti-fan club going on. Ellen Lovin, Under the Eye of the Big Bird. Yes, hype that book.
I really want to read it.
Yeah, so Birding is definitely a different book, a seaside town.
Well, birds, there's bird in both titles. How am I supposed to keep that straight?
How are you going to get this thing?
Oh dear. Oh, Roz just picked it up. I love that we've just completely segued to the international booker now.
If we're going to segue it, I want ever like the Small Boat's really good. I've read 2 of them.
Oh yeah, I love Small Boats as well. It was really good. Gosh, Charlotte's on Fire. Finished The Artist and The Dream Hotel. Currently reading A Little Trickery. Good work.
You are amazing, Charlotte. Look at that. That's crazy.
Smashing it.
Reading good fiction, that's the word. Thank you, Jen. That's exactly what I meant.
Yeah.
That's what she did. Katie did, like it's the type. This is what I feel like the Women's Prize often.
Oh right, yeah.
New animal.
Haven't read all 4s, but by the sounds of people who like it would also like New Animal by Ella Baxter. Interesting. Not much to talk about all 4s till the BookTube Prize round ends, but just to say it's not my top.
Oh no!
I'm gonna go to BookTube jail.
Oh, I love it. A salty review from Ross. It was salty as Ross gets. DNF Crooked Seeds last year, around halfway. We'll be interested to see if anyone enjoys it. Yes, just purchase Eye the Big Bird. Yay!
I want it to come on offer, and then I can get it.
I like Strange Weather in Tokyo a lot. So
I've got that on my shelf. I haven't read it yet, but now I'm definitely going to read it after.
I DNF'd actually. There's like a little short story book. Which is it like something for people from my neighbourhood? And it's only like it's like a palm, the palm size books. I did not like that at all.
I feel like this live stream is just adding a bunch of books to my list.
Imagine if you do 2 of these a week, Sandy. Imagine what I'll do.
That's why I never write anything down.
Do 1 thing a week. Let's just be honest right now. I haven't posted a video in a couple weeks. So
but you got up before 7 o'clock on a Sunday, so
yeah. So you get fireworks for that.
Yeah. That is good work.
Yay!
Aw. I don't know how you do that, but I love it.
Sarah is recommending Sandwich by Catherine Newman for a perimenopause character.
I read another one by her, and I liked her writing. So yeah,
nice.
Catherine Newman.
Right, okay. We're gonna get crispy.
Crispy.
I thought we already were.
all the way through. So the question is, in case you didn't know, if you could have a flavour of crisps that should exist but doesn't, what would it be?
And I know it's harder because you're in America, so there's every single flavour of crisps.
There are every single flavor.
Because
feel
Richard's
like-
told us this.
I feel for Brian's face that he already has a disgusting answer in mind.
I have two. The one that did exist briefly, and another one I don't think exists. So the one that did exist briefly was chicken and waffle flavored potato chips. The Lay's
That's a
potato
very
chip,
American thing.
yeah,
chicken
the
and
Lay's
waffle.
potato chip company, which I think is Walker's in the UK,
Yeah.
did a thing a few years ago where every year they came out with like 3 flavors, and then you could vote on which one you wanted, and they had a chicken and waffles flavored, and I like that one,
That sounds
which
nice.
is a weird. But the one I don't think exists is guacamole flavored.
What is that?
Oh, that sounds
So-
gross.
Guacamole?
Guacamole. I know what guacamole.
Sorry, guacamole. Jeez.
It's basically like avocado flavored crisps, right?
Well, it's spicy avocado dip flavored chips.
Smushed avocado chips.
Guacamole is avocado dip with onions and spices and peppers in it.
You know that she doesn't like anything avocado. So
Yeah,
like,
Yeah,
Gemma's not. Look
I
at her
knew she
face,
doesn't
she's
like
already
avocado,
Yeah,
and that's
you go, you
probably
made
what
her
put
do
it in
the
my
face.
head.
you made her do the face.
Not the cheese.
Would they be green as well?
Yeah, they'd be green.
Yeah, of course they would.
Yeah.
So, Gemma, I don't remember. Is it the texture or the flavor of avocado that you don't like?
Well, I can't get past the texture, so I don't really know what it tastes like.
So maybe an avocado crisp would work for you. You don't know.
I don't think it
Actually, a
would.
spicy one.
Yeah, it would be crunchy
Yeah.
or crispy, as the name. Implies. I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not convinced, Brian. I'm not convinced.
All right.
Sandy, give me a better option.
This may exist, but I don't see it all the time. Which is this is very strange. Which is a chocolate covered crisp, like a chocolate covered potato chip. So you get the crunchy, and you get the sweet, and you get the salty.
I could get on board with that.
That'd be so good.
I think I'd rather have the smushed avocado, to be
Oh
honest.
my gosh, Gemma, you're so difficult.
Yes,
no.
noodles.
Like, we've discussed this, like, on multiple occasions. Like, sweet and savoury together don't work. Like, you cannot
Yes,
have pineapple-
Oh my!
figs on pizza. Like, this is not a thing. Like, and you cannot have chocolate and crisps.
Yes,
This is like
it
this
would
has
be
been a-
so yummy.
It does sound
Sandy,
good.
when you said it, I just knew it was going to cause a face. So I just
Can
knew.
Can I ask a question about this crisp thing? Because I know Gemma said her favorite are salt and vinegar, right?
Yes.
That's like the best chip. And I don't disagree, but I'm wondering if like a pickle flavored potato chip would do the same thing, like a dill pickle flavored potato chip would do the same. Because to me, they're really similar. Because, to make pickles, there's a lot of vinegar involved. So one of my favorite things is like plain crisp potato chips and pickles to eat them at the same time.
They have a pickle flavored chip
Do
now
they?
too, though.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure
there's a
it's somewhere.
brand. Well, at least in the U.S., there's a brand. They also make the honey Dijon one that I love.
Oh.
But I can't remember the name of the brand. But there are a couple brands that make a pickle flavored potato
All
chip.
right.
Yeah, so pickles are like gherkins, right? You're talking about gherkins.
Not sweet gherkins, not sweet.
No,
Like
these
dill
would be
pickle.
these would be like vinegary pickle, not like a gherkin. No,
She's not.
I mean,
she's
but
not like
yes, a
sweet.
pickle is a little cucumber that's been pickled.
Yeah.
She's not.
But not like it's not sweet, Emma. It's not,
Not
a
sweet at all.
salty thing.
No.
No, but it's like I don't do gherkins, and it basically is a gherkin, like
I think gherkins are
Vinegar.
sweet, though.
like a vinegary
Yeah.
gherkin. I could do pickled onions and salt and vinegar crisps.
Okay.
That would
That's-
work.
an onion is not a
but the
pickle.
premise-
Like,
It's not a pickle.
it's not a thingy. It's not a.
I don't understand how the UK is so anti or so pickle boring. I mean,
I like pickles.
like every time I say pickle, it's a
Pickles.
gherkin. I'm like,
No,
well,
I'm not
there are all
having that
kinds of pickles.
I like it.
It's
I
not
eat anything
just
pickled.
gherkins.
I eat anything pickles. So don't label me with that.
Oh,
That-
sorry. I forget
Yeah,
I can't
don't
judge
put
the
Gemma as
entire.
everybody.
I can't judge the entire country based on Gemma and her opinions about food
I
or
hate
books.
Yeah.
To be fair, I eat most things. To be fair, like you can pretty much put anything in front of me, and I mostly eat anything. So
I'm kind of the same way.
I feel like this is the pizza conversation all over
I
again.
know it is. It always is.
We just keep going around. We just keep going
That was
around.
the original. That was the OG.
Zach is up for some
Ooh.
Cuban sandwich flavor, Chris. That
That
actually
sounds
sounds quite
nice.
nice.
That would be good.
Meaty.
Hmm.
That does sound good.
Yes, they
great.
were. Yes. Something, please.
Easier access to all the tato flavor. I just want easier access to all the tato flavors. Yeah. Despise avocado. Yes, the texture makes.
But
me
these
feel
would be
ill.
crispy. They wouldn't be textural.
It's not like a mushy.
I
crisp,
think it's
that
an
was-
option for
Golly.
people. An avocado crisp.
I would try them. I would try them in crisp format. But
Well, you know,
I want to
all
see
crisp
footage
are going to be crunchy and salty, so you have to add those two things to whatever else you're talking about.
yeah.
So when you both come over to the UK, bring all your crazy crisps with you.
Wait, do you have space for us? Is that what you're telling me? That you can live in your like attic?
We've always got room for our budders. Like, yeah, boys.
All right.
Salt and chocolate is actually really good. I actually don't disagree. Like, I don't mind salt and chocolate, but it's the addition of a potato, like a root vegetable from the ground.
But potatoes don't taste like anything.
Oh,
Wow.
That's
now
why.
I'm
That's why.
being, like,
That's why you can
controversial.
add things to potatoes, and they all taste good because potatoes don't have a strong
opening up
taste.
a new can of worms, Brian, right there.
Ryan, I mean,
That's like saying rice has a really powerful taste. It tastes like something, yes, but I mean, you know, you could put anything with rice and it comes out better.
I feel like, Brian, you're going to get uninvited from future podcasts.
I'm just hoping to continue the tension between Gemma and I.
That's what we're all here for.
Yeah, Gemma's going to keep a list of people who had bad recommendations for food.
Brian was
That's
already
fair.
at the top of that list
That-
anyway.
that's
Still invites Eric back, but she still invites Eric back, and Eric always tries to wind her up. Always.
Yeah.
I saw that last week. I think that's what inspired me.
Tay did a chocolate bar with crisps in it. Oh, get out. Get out.
Chocolate covered pretzels. I agree.
No.
Just a little bit of crunch, some salt with some chocolate. Oh, so good.
I mean,
I agree
pretzels
with
on their own are disgusting. Catty.
Goodness.
That was so misguided.
Oh, damn. I'm gonna have to
No, it's fine because I know that I'm not the misguided one here. Like, it's everybody else.
Everyone else is wrong and Gemma is right.
Jess, you're in Canada, so aren't you? So of course you have dill pickles there.
Pickled onion crisps are great. Agree. We have. Do you have Monster Munch in the States?
I only associate Monster Munch with like popcorn with chocolate and nuts
Yeah,
and things. So I don't know if that's what you mean.
Oh no, it's like a puffed crisp that's in the
Yeah.
shape of a monster paw,
kind of like a what's it, but not. Do they have
but not cheesy,
like
pickled oniony.
I don't
Like,
think so.
Look at Sandy and I. We're like, we have no idea what the hell we're talking
What?
about.
What is
you, are,
that?
now, you need to start a petition. Look, send a little letter to Trump and say, "Mate, can we have some?"
Oh, no.
No,
I'm
next
sure
thing
I'm
you know,
already.
no.
I don't want to add to my FBI file.
Oh, dear. There are a few pickle flavored crisps in the US.
Good.
Pickled onion walkers, yes. Hi, Ben. Haha, Roz and I are on the same wavelength. Dill pickle. I love it.
Frickle.
What's a frickle?
What is a frickle?
What is a frickle? Yes, see, Jack knows.
Pickle.
Pickled onion monster munch.
What's funny? I've been to the UK multiple times. I've never had it there either. So
Next time,
There you go then.
Candy.
Okay.
Next time.
Sort you
You're
out.
missing out.
Yeah, exactly.
Ouch, Ben. Ouch. Oh, yeah.
great pickle
I'm
tradition.
sorry I insulted the UK and pickles. It was just Gemma that made me.
It was just me.
Sorry.
What, pickled pig's
Oh
feet?
I
no.
love that if anyone's going to say that, of course it's Zach. Zach, I love you so much.
I've had a pickled pig's foot. Where is
And?
Zach from? Zach must be from the American South.
He's in America.
What?
I'm gonna go
What
with
does a pickled
no.
pig's foot taste like?
Salty and porky.
Thanks for the excellent description there, Brian.
Well, there's not much else to it. I don't want to tell you. So.
I just imagine the texture again on that is awful, but
Yeah, they're
Feet,
yeah.
Sandy, it's feet.
But like a
Okay.
pig's foot is like a
yeah, it's like
hoof, right?
The
Like
feet.
is it the hoof or like the?
Eat feet.
but
I'm good.
Yeah.
Pass.
you can't waste parts of a hog. You got to eat them all. So
You can eat them. We'll send all the feet to you, Brian.
Pickle them up.
I didn't say I liked them. I said I had
People head of your way.
Oh dear! Oh my goodness! There's so
See?
much
Yes.
discussion
Yeah.
now
You've
about
opened
pickles.
up a can of worms, Joe. You're
Pickled
going to have to
eggs.
get onto the game.
Pickled walnuts, pickled plums. Like there's
I
so
think
many
I've
comments. I
pickled
actually I've scrolled
too.
down. It's,
Yeah.
it's
I've
like,
also had pickled asparagus. I like that because it's
that's
like
good.
just crunchy and salty and that vinegar with it. I love putting that in salads. That's super, super yummy.
pickled okra is also good.
Mm.
I bet you're an amazing cook, Sandy.
I'm a fairly decent cook, yeah. Especially
That means
like,
she's
for
amazing.
cooking Persian food. It only took me 20 something years to learn how to make it. And my mother-in-law tried to teach me, which my notes are hilarious because she did not speak a lot of English. And so my notes say things like, add salt. How much? Don't know. Why did she add salt? I have no idea.
I love that so much.
Anybody who says they're an okay cook is a great cook. That's why.
I'm decent, yeah.
See, that means you're great
Oh.
because nobody like compliments their own food. So, well, no, maybe Gemma does, but most people don't.
If my husband says that it's a really good Persian dish, that's very high praise because
There
he
you go.
compares everything to his mother, how his mother made it, which was always phenomenal. And so if I can get him to say this is amazing, then I know, yeah, I've done a good job making it. So
Yeah, I'm a hit or miss kind of cook. My son once, I made dinner and he sent my husband a message under the table, who was still at work, asking him to pick up a McDonald's saying bad dinner alert with like siren emoji. Yep.
I have made things that my husband
I love
will
that so much. That's
he'll start to eat and then he will finish his plate all the time. Like he's not a person that leaves food. And so if he has like a few bites, he's like, I'm not hungry. I'm like, okay, that just means it wasn't very good. So,
That works with my son too.
yeah,
If I make something, he only eats like one. I'm like, no, that was not
he
making.
didn't like
good.
it.
That's not a good one. A frickle is a fried pickle.
Oh, okay, yeah, those are good.
No, I
Yeah.
don't.
Fried
Yeah.
pickle. I feel like Jack should come to a fair here in the States or something. We can
Oh,
try
that
everything.
would be fun. That would be fun. Come to like the Texas
You
State
can try
Fair
ice
or the
cream.
Go on
Houston. The Houston Rodeo is great for like fair food. We fry like we're like Scotland. We fry everything.
Yeah.
Did Monster Munch sound like Funyuns? What do you know what a Funyun is?
Yeah,
Funyun.
a Funyun is like it's not really an onion, but it's like an onion flavored crisp in the shape of an
Yeah.
onion ring.
I mean, it's just basically all processed garbage
Yeah.
in a shape
Yeah.
that somewhat looks like an onion round that they
Yeah.
fried. Pretty much.
That's what it is.
Excellent. Okay, right. What are we up to now? Oh, the
Game.
game. I feel like I've gone completely off.
Right, we'll claw it back.
So I need to work out where I've put that. I'll put it over here. Minimize that. Present. Okay.
The game is fun. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first because I'm going to go out on the first one.
You
so.
need to get rid of the higher
Brian's the next pick.
I appreciate you setting the bar at a level that
Yeah.
maybe I can
I'm setting you up for the W right here.
maybe. No.
Okay, so just a reminder on how the game works. So all of the books are previously nominated Women's Prize books. We will tell you the story graph rating for the first book, and then you have to tell us if the next book has a higher or a lower story graph rating.
You need to get rid of the higher or lower banner because you can't see poor Brian otherwise. He's hidden.
Oh, sorry, Brian. You've been. That's payback for all the.
That's punishment.
That's fair. I actually preferred it with the banner over my face because this is going to be embarrassing.
It's like you're in the naughty corner, Brian.
Not the first time I've been there.
Okay, so Brian, then we're going to start with The Lonely Hearts Hotel by Heather O'Neill, which had a score of 3.71.
And these are all Women's Prize listed books, FYI.
Can you tell me if What the Body Remembers has a higher or a lower rating?
I'm going to say lower.
Okay.
First, you were
lower.
right.
It's higher.
Wow.
There you go.
So yeah, that was wrong, Brian. That was wrong.
This is only fair because last year when we played the game and I was on with Eric, I think I won and I had no idea what I was talking about. I literally just would buzz in and say whatever first.
Sometimes it's about speed. It is.
Yeah.
You
can carry on guessing.
You carry on guessing, but you still got 0.
Ordinary People, not Sally Rooney?
No, Diana Evans. Sally Rooney was Normal People.
Oh, that's right. Sorry.
Yeah.
I didn't realize Sally Rooney had ripped off the title of the book.
Ordinary People.
Geez, she's also a plagiarist as well as being kind of boring. Anyway.
Oh my God.
So, Ordinary People, I'm going to say is lower.
Okay.
Hey.
You get fireworks. Oh, no, you would have got fireworks if you carried on. Probably shouldn't give you.
The next book, which I've never heard of, but now
good.
I really want to read based on the cover. It's
Cover's amazing.
Lives of the Monster Dogs.
That's got to be higher than 3.29.
I don't actually. Do you know what? Actually, I don't like that book.
You are right. 3.73.
Ooh, The Last Samurai.
I think Shelley read that last year, didn't she?
Maybe.
Helen DeWitt.
Let's see. Is it possible it's been downrated for cultural appropriation? I'm going to say lower.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I would have said higher on that one just because it's a more popular title that more people probably have read and rated, where some of the other ones, like one low score on one of the books could drop it really far down.
That's true.
That's a good point, Sandy.
See, that's the strategy who's going to win this for you, Sandy.
Yeah, that
You're showing us promise.
Okay, and then we've got Painter of Silence by Georgina Harding, higher or lower than 4.21.
Oh, it's got to be lower.
There we go. That was an effort. We'll call that an effort.
That was an effort.
I mean, you didn't get any points, but I still gave you fireworks twice, which you're very lucky.
That's all right. Thanks.
I just love that so much. That was an effort, Brian.
It was an effort to watch, probably. I mean, struggle through those. So.
See,
I appreciate you going first, though. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
This is why you have to have me and Charlie, because I fear that if it was just me, like all the guests would just run away crying.
Good cop, bad cop.
I feel like it'd be hard to make Brian cry.
Yeah, to be fair, though that sounds like a challenge.
No, don't try. This is not a mission.
You're not going to make me cry by being mean to me, but you can make me cry.
That just makes Brian like you more.
Meanness doesn't do it.
Okay,
right.
so Sandy, your first one is The Vintner's Luck, which was 3.45 by Elizabeth Knox.
I've not heard of that.
No. And is it higher or low? Or no, sorry, is the Mayor higher or lower than 3.45?
feel like I have to just play the numbers that game and go higher. I feel like I'm on The Price is Right.
Oh, and Sandy's already in the lead.
You got right. That means you automatically win.
You won. Yay.
You won.
Okay, then we've got Tides of War by Stella Tilliard.
I'll go higher again.
Again.
That's a gamble.
Wow.
That's quite a
Really
lot.
low.
You got one point though.
Wow.
So I feel like the next one's a freebie.
No,
It
the
kind of
Tides of
is.
War must be a love book, and Gemma's the only person who rated it.
We'll definitely say higher.
It would have a lower score than 2.8 if it had been me, Brian, right?
Yeah, that would be bad. Oh my gosh.
And it's Layleen Paul, which is obviously the writer of Pod. Layleen Paul is the author of Pod.
So the English correspondence, higher or lower than 3.65, Sandy?
This feels like a trap again. I'm gonna
You already
say
won.
higher again.
You're going to
Yeah,
go higher
my last
again?
one was wrong.
All right.
Oh, wow.
I would have said lower. You did really well.
Cover, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then we've got Alicia Fack, The Bastard of
I
Istanbul.
want to read it more of that one.
I'm gonna say higher because it's a more well-known author.
Ooh!
You're so good at this.
Dang it. If only I had said lower on that first one.
I know. You still beat Brian, though, so...
Yeah, you did.
I did beat Brian.
You did amazing. Well done.
I just missed one. Darn it.
Good
That
work,
overachiever side of me is really mad.
Oh dear, you could have done so well, Sandy. You
I
got
could have
all
been
the
a
way through
contender.
for that
I could have
one.
been a contender.
Well, you've done really well. One is you got a point.
I did. I got
You
8
did
points.
get
1 point.
Oh dear.
Brian got 0.
To be fair, last week's guest only got 0. It's the luck of the draw.
I love how you try to make me feel better about something I don't feel bad about. Thank you, Charlie.
Always right.
You're a wonderful person.
Oh, here's a question. Don't Texas fairs fry sticks of butter?
Yeah.
They do, yes.
What? How do you eat that?
I don't.
Okay.
I
That's
would
fried ice
imagine
cream.
yeah,
Surely
fried
it's
ice
like
cream
a
is
heart
good.
attack. In a
Yeah,
stick.
it's bad for you. I don't know if you've ever been to a Texas fair. There's nothing there that's good for you.
But, like, how does that work? Like, is it in batter?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They I imagine they freeze it. And
Yeah.
then it's just in long enough to like brown the coating. It was my guess.
I kind of want
I've never actually had it.
Oh, my arteries clogging just by reading that
Yeah.
question.
Yeah, that sounds. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then there were questions about how to fry sticks of butter from participants.
I think we stole the frying the candy bar from you guys, Pam.
Yeah.
sure.
Deep fried Mars bars.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
deep. Yeah, Scotland and the North, they do deep fry Mars bars.
Do
Do they still
yeah.
do that? Because when I was younger, I feel like they did that. I don't know. Do they still do that?
Yeah, I think they do. You can get them down here as well in the south, in some chip shops. Yeah. So yeah, there we go.
I think a fried Oreo is the last weird thing I ate that was fried like that. So
But I don't understand why you would want to fry.
we fry
Yes.
everything. There's literally a steak, chicken fried steak, that's like the national dish of Texas, where we just for no good reason fry steak. So
What, deep fry?
yeah.
No.
Well, you can do it two ways. You can deep fry it, or you can like kind of skillet fry it, I guess is how
if I were making chicken fried steak, I'd take a piece of cube steak, so it's like not a
yeah,
solid
it's not
steak.
like a ribeye.
Dredge it in egg and then flour with salt and pepper, and then you just fry it in a pan. And so it's like a steak that's coated in a crispy outside.
Okay.
It's very
Yeah.
delicious.
It is good.
You make us all want to come to your house, Sandy.
See, I told you she
Get
was.
to my house, I'd make you Persian food, but yes.
Yeah.
That's okay. I would eat that too.
I'd
would
be
eat that.
pretty saying if I came to your house and you made me a chicken fried steak, I'd probably be a little disappointed because I would have wanted the Persian food. So.
Yeah, no, Persian food is what I make for people coming in from out of town that haven't had it before. Because if you go to a restaurant, you can't buy a lot of what someone can make for you. If you go to a Persian restaurant, you're getting kebab usually, and you don't get the other dishes. So,
all right,
That's amazing.
It does. Let's go.
We fry Mars bars in Scotland, but it's only tourists that eat them.
I would eat it. I would.
Yes, Shelley did love The Last Samurai. I thought she did. That makes sense. Have yet to try deep fried smart. Yeah, I can't cope with that as an idea.
I think my husband is mostly Scottish, even though he's not really. He's like 3 kids. His mum's Scottish and his dad's half Scottish, so he's 3/4 Scottish. So I have tried those things.
Sandy is indeed.
I could by 1 point kick butt. Yeah.
But no, but you would have got more than that if you would have just like.
Oh, that first one. I'm gonna be bitter about that for a while. Sandy needs to do a cooking video.
Yeah, you do. That would be amazing.
Second channel.
About 3 hours long, and there'd just be a camera on the pot. Like
You should show us. We'd like that.
People would love that. I bet that would be a hit.
A cooking
Like a
video.
3-hour-long Persian cooking video.
The plotters have put a request in for a cooking
Oh
arena.
my gosh, you
I
guys!
know, it's like a whole thing now, Sandy. You can't get out of
No,
it.
we need it. We need it.
Watch with notebook in hand.
Yeah.
Shelley, just come to Seattle, and I'll show you how to make it here.
You say that because we all need to.
Yay.
We will all be coming to Seattle.
Maybe I'll stop in Seattle on my way to Canada when I escape the United States. So.
Perfect. Perfect. You can carpool with my husband out of the country.
Yeah, he and I will just hit the woods.
Oh, you've just got a cooking video. Sandy, you've got a cooking video. No, we didn't. We need to link it. You need to link it, Jen.
I don't. No, I don't. When did I do a cooking video? What did I might have done gosh.
Yeah, that's a
I'll
good
have to look.
idea.
I don't remember. I know I've made things like zucchini bread, things like that. Her mother-in-law rice.
Heather had a great idea.
So,
Did you see that in the comments? Read the Persians and then do a cooking. Doing it. We should do. This needs to happen.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. I vaguely remember, Dia, the rice. So how you make Persian rice is they have a crispy bottom that's called tahdig. And so what you do is you put it in the rice cooker and you put way too much butter in it. And it basically fries the bottom of the rice. And so how you serve it is you flip it and you have a dome of this crispy top that you have. I did
remember that
once.
Yeah. Anyway, you should do it.
Yeah.
Looks like Shelley is going to coordinate with you.
Yes, I'll bring the fried weirdness.
You can
And then plug it so we can all see.
Brian, bring the fried butter and the
for the road trip. Yeah.
Dear. Okay. So last time we did a plot, which was Tuesday. Yes, we had our guests ask some questions for you. So Eric asked, is there a book that you associate with a certain place or time? Brian, do you have an answer for this?
I used to say that I could remember where I read all of my books, but I'm old now, and that's no longer true. And I've read too many books that I didn't think were great. And Eric had this great answer. He read about Vikings when he was on his trip to Norway, and I thought I should come up with an answer like that. And I thought, well, that's anyway. So I know exactly where I was when I read 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, because I read it sitting on the front porch of the house I lived in college. And so when I picked that book up, in addition to that, if you've been a long-time viewers of my channel will know that one of my friends vomited on my copy of that book, which I still have. And that's still my copy. It was mostly liquid vomit. Does that help?
Oh, please, stop it. I
When you
can't
say
hear it now.
mostly, does that mean there's still a risk that you'll open it and a little chunk will fall out?
No, the part that got on it was liquid, and I also a similar thing happened to a friend of mine, and it was a red wine, and that was the unbearable lightness of being. So it has
But that's okay.
what
You can
appears
do
to be a
that.
red wine stain, but which is actually
Vomit.
regurgitated red wine
Oh,
stain. I don't know what the constituent parts of the 100 Years of Solitude vomit were, but I've read it. I put it on the coffee table in the house I lived in college, and then like the next day, I woke up and someone had vomited in our car.
It's just
I
gross.
can't. I
And you
can't.
Yeah,
still have
guys are gross, number one, and number two, we're really gross when we're like in our early 20s. It's like
I think
the
from like
worst.
teenage to early 20s, right?
Yeah, I think so. I think that I think going to college and living with other guys improves your immune system, because if you live through it, you're probably
stronger.
pretty good. Yeah, you're probably pretty good. I did have pneumonia one year when I was in college, and I made it through that. So,
God. That's horrific.
so there you go. There's my un-Eric version of memory.
That's
That's
the
very
opposite
common.
of an Eric.
Yeah, that's the least Eric thing I think I could say.
Yeah.
But he'd be impressed.
Sandy, do
Oh,
you have a book that reminds you of a specific time or place?
Preferably not.
I
vomit
can't
worthy.
say it involves vomit. I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
Brian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I have a lot of vomit stories.
It is Agatha Christie's, and then there were none, because I associate that book as one of the first books that my now husband recommended to me when we went to the bookstore. Famously, on one of our first dates, we were out, we had pizza, and we wanted cheese pizza, both of us. And then I was like, well, what do you want to do now? I was like, I kind of want to go to the bookstore. And yeah, we've been together for 23 years now after that. But that is the first book he recommended to me. And I will always associate that just with him and that
Oh,
time, that early time in our
answer.
See, your
relationship.
story was so good.
That's
Dang
such a
it.
gorgeous answer.
My
And you
story
got-
was terrible.
And then I took it home and I threw up while reading it.
There you go. Thanks, there. All right. Woo. Feel better. Feel better. Thanks. Appreciate that.
Ham Ham is saying Lord of the Rings for me. Read it on my first holiday abroad. That's cute.
Aw.
Look, Sandy gets comments like, love that.
How do you know
Heart,
that
like-
wasn't for me?
Smiley heart.
It wasn't
That's true.
Brian.
Dia did not
Chris,
spend
you know what comment was for you, Brian?
There you go.
It's the different
Well, I
levels.
did talk about all four.
I don't
so
know.
maybe-
Maybe that's mine. Could be. You never know.
Maybe. Oh dear. Okay, and the question that Jen asked was, what is a book that you wished you had DNF'd? Sandy, there must be some.
There are definitely a few in this category, but the one that I read that was on the 1001 list that I just don't know why I kept reading it is the 120 Days of Sodom by the Marquis de Sade. Just no. I mean, it's so gross and so graphic and it involves so much that I just don't want to read about. It's just, yeah, I wish I had not finished that. Anytime there's kind of like certain things with certain age groups, I just can't. I think closely following that now is The Cement Garden by Ian McEwan that I read last year. Same problem, like, no, but the 120 Days of Sodom is just over and over and over and over again content that it's just gross. Yeah, it's
I
just
can't
not.
force
Quite
myself through that kind of stuff. I just can't.
Yeah, it's just no.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
usually it's books like that.
Yeah. That's fair. Brian, do you have one?
Yes, The Bee Sting by Paul Murray. Just
Oh,
absolutely
interesting. That's really good.
hated that
Controversial.
book
Now you're trying to annoy Charlie.
I love
much.
that book so
Oh,
much.
it's so terrible, Charlie. It's
I
so
loved
awful. How
it.
can you like that book?
I
Like-
loved it.
Oh, didn't that win the BookTube prize last year?
Yeah, it won
Or
the
coming-
Victory Prize and it won the Nero. And when it won the Nero, because I think I messaged you, didn't I? No, that was for the BookTube prize. One of those two
Yeah.
prizes. Whatever one it won,
Yeah.
I remember messaging you, being like, "Have you seen the winner of this?" And
If I had not been reading for the BookTube prize, that book, I would not have finished that book. I didn't
haven't read that
care
one.
one bit what happened to any
you didn't
of
like
those
it either, Sandy.
I haven't read it.
Oh, you haven't read
Too
it.
long.
Shelley liked
Yeah.
it though.
And
Too
Shelley
long.
liked it. Shelley, I love you. Shelley, you can get hearts.
Oh,
But
look, Brian.
we can. Yeah,
Yeah. Every single person that's saying
it.
you
So
all get hearts.
that's funny.
No, Jem, did you read it?
I haven't read it yet. No.
I don't think that you would love
Oh, but
the
Chris
the
is in
section.
agreement. Chris
Thank
agrees with
you. Jeez, so terrible. And it's so long. Why does the part with the woman have to be so long?
So the women bit, I do right. That if there was one bit I would make a little bit shorter, I would say like her bit, the mother is the bit I would make shorter. In truth, in all truth, like I did love the whole book. But
Okay, so I don't want to spoil this for anybody, but when you get to the end, I didn't care which character what happened to.
All right.
I didn't care.
I
just was
cared
happy.
a lot.
I was happy it finally happened because I saw it coming.
Yeah.
And then it didn't matter to me who it happened to.
Apparently,
He just wanted the book to be over at that point.
Yeah,
no,
just-
but Brian, apparently the ending isn't what you think it is, and apparently there's multiple, like it's open to interpretation. And so in my head, I write it a certain way, which I will tell you about another time.
Well, that to me feels like the author's job, not mine. So.
So
Oh,
that's so bad.
Oh,
know,
Ross
I know
is
Ross
on
didn't
Team
like it. I
Brian.
knew Ross was gonna pipe
Yes,
up.
I knew Roz was on my side.
Yeah, I knew Ross was gonna pipe up and say it because I remember.
Yes, that's true, Chris. Yes. Yes.
Interesting.
I didn't think it was
hilarious.
Wow, I didn't realize it was quite as divisive as that. I thought it was generally quite well received. But clearly
It's not. It's just the other two people who don't like it just happen to be in the comments.
Actually, and she DNF'd it as well, and she's like one of my she's like one of my best. She's one of our best friends, isn't she? And she DNF'd it as well, so that broke my heart.
I'm sorry that Ange DNF'd it.
Yeah, it broke my heart into like 20,000 pieces.
Okay, so the last thing we have to do is we need you guys to ask a question for our next guests who are on Tuesday.
Kerry and speaking of which.
Yes. So, Brian, did you think of a question?
I did. I thought of two, and I don't know which one to ask.
Make sure you say it slowly because I'm going to write it down.
Okay. I want to ask this one, but I'm afraid it'll come off the wrong way.
Oh, no, it's fine. We love that.
Yeah.
All right. So here we go. So the question I'm not going to ask is, why was Orbital the wrong choice for the Booker Prize? That was the question
Do you know what that would be? And raging. So actually, if you did ask that.
So my actual question is, do you ever foresee a time in which a men's prize for fiction will be necessary?
Oh, I love it.
Wow. He's getting that pot out with a big stir stick in it.
Yeah.
The other reason I didn't want to ask, I didn't was hesitant
when you talk about the women's prize. I swear, every time
I do.
We always do. Always, all of us do, don't we?
I cannot. If I put the word women in the title of one of my videos, I get people, accusing me of just trying to suck up to some woman who I'm trying to impress, or calling me all kinds of names and telling me how, they
mustn't know that about you've got a lovely wife who's like,
I know. Well, it doesn't matter, but anyway, so yeah. So I thought I recently had some comments in which I went back and forth with a commenter about sci-fi fantasy books and whether or not there were any books published by men in that genre, and I kind of proved him wrong. I felt like, but it was a nice conversation. So that's kind of what inspired.
That's good though. It's good to have a nice conversation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It is an interesting question though, because I think the Women's Prize was created because the Booker favoured men, but I don't think it's quite favouring men in the same way anymore, right? So certainly last year it was very women heavy in the shortlist.
But then
the Man Booker Prize too. It used to be called that.
Used to be.
I'm pretty sure.
I don't want to answer my own question because that's what I'm supposed to. But before I asked the question, I counted, and there were like 13 books nominated for the Booker Prize. Is that right?
Yeah.
and I think 5 of them were by men, which is
The
not
last year.
which really isn't disproportionate representation of women. I think that sorry, I mentioned my question now.
No, we can hear it.
I think that one of the things that makes people believe that's true is that if the proportion isn't 50-50 or isn't 60-40 men, then men think there are a lot more women. It's that perception thing, that where they see 7 women on the list, or 8 maybe, and they go, oh, well, it's, the prize is all about women. And really there are 5 men on the list. That's not disproportionate.
And that
I mean,
doesn't
a little
even
bit, but
include-
not
that doesn't even include like non-binary people, does it?
right.
So it's
Yeah,
like,
it doesn't.
so, like in terms of like 50-50, there is no 50-50, is there?
Yeah.
Like,
And right. And most I find most of the men who say this are white men, and they're only thinking about white men. Like they'll just exclude gay men and not assume they're not men, and they'll exclude, authors of color, and they don't count them somehow. And I'm like, sorry.
No, it's an interesting topic. It is an interesting topic. I'm intrigued to see how the guests will answer it. It's a good question.
So glad I came on with Brian and I don't have to try and answer that.
to be fair, if anyone's going to take it on, Ange and Kerry, I definitely think would be the perfect guest.
Perfect.
Okay, so Sandy, what question have you got for us?
I have the question of, do you have a book or an author that is very high regarded that you just absolutely hate?
Excellent.
Yep. And I do have my own answer for this one, but I don't want to upset Jack at Spread Book Joy. Because I know it's one of her favorite books.
You're going to say Terry Pratchett? Are you going to say Terry Pratchett?
It's no, it's Wuthering Heights.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's terrible.
It's one of Jack's favorite books, though.
I know. It's a lot of people's favorite book.
too.
And it's my sister Emily's favorite book as well.
I despise it. Yep.
I was like, meh.
Alice despised it.
Oh,
She absolutely hated it. We used to row about that all the time.
It's easily the best book that I absolutely hate. I mean,
I don't
it's
even
brilliant in lots of ways, but I just hate it. I hate everything.
I don't
about
even
it.
hate it.
hopefully that generates some good conversation with your next guest. So
Yes.
DNF'd Wuthering Heights. See, I am not alone.
You are not alone.
It sadly was on the 1001 list, so I had to get through it, but it took me like 4 different times. I had it as a physical book. I had it as an audio book. I struggled to read that book.
It's very, very dry. Like that's how I felt. Like I felt like it was
confusing. It was just confusing to me. But
love that.
and now Jack is going to unfriend me and unsubscribe.
So I think the beast thing is enough for Brian. Okay, right. I think we've overshot the timing somewhat. So what we'll do is I'll say a big thank you to my lovely co-host Charlie, and a huge thank you to the fantastic Brian and Sandy. Thank you so much.
You both get Violet.
It has been
so much
blast. Thank you to everyone in the comments for all your comments, except for those that commented about pickles. You can and we will be on Charlie's channel on Tuesday at 8 p.m. UK time with Ange from Ange's Book Chatter and Kerry from Kerry Bookish Adventures in Wellbeing. So we will say goodbye now, and we'll see you all on Tuesday. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.